Hello, Sega.
You're lucky. I ran out of coffee. What's up?
I wanted to let you know, I actually got the new bow to level 90.
Bro, that bow is dog shit. Why did you level it?
I'm free to play, Seka. It's free.
It doesn't matter. That bow sucks. Why are you leveling it?
Don't you know? It's R5 for the flex.
So you level the bow just because it has the words Refine 5? Not because it's good?
Of course, Seka. Why do free-to-play players do anything? Because I can.
You're like the biggest free-to-play brain nerd I've ever met.
At least I still have my teeth.
You're such a... I'm gonna make more coffee now. Dick. All right, bow testing. All right, baseline test is R1 Stringless. All right, so Venti's ulti is snapshotted, so you gotta use, if you wanna boost him, you gotta use boost beforehand. So let's use a Q first right here. All right, we're hitting for about 2K, 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 2K. And like 15K on the E. Okay, so there's the damage that we got off that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a buff here, and then we'll use this. Now it's up to 3K, 22K. Okay, and let's switch the bow. Okay, so we're gonna do 3 tests on this bow, I guess. All right, so in order to proc the bow, you have to use an E first. So you use E first, and then you use the Q, and then it procs. So there's 2K, 2K. It's almost exactly the same with the buff procced. 15K inside the swirl. It's almost exactly the same with the buff procced. Okay. And we're gonna add on to this with a Bennett ulti in a second. Boom. 2900. So this bow is already worse than R1 Stringless because of the way the attack proc works. This is an R5 version of this bow. It is currently worse than R1 Stringless or Venti. That is big freaking yikes. An R5 bow on Venti, the Windblume Ode is about the same with no buffs. Then once you put an attack buff on, immediately becomes worse than an R1 Stringless. It's so bad. I cannot believe how bad this weapon is. Now the weapon, the way it works is that once you use the E, it'll snap, you're able to then get the attack buff. And you don't have to hit anything with it. So my Venti stats with the attack buff give me 1978 attack. And then once the buff leaves, I'll show you can see it by this stuff around you right here. And then when it leaves, I'll go down to 1735. The reason this is worse than Stringless as far as a weapon goes is because of the way attack percentages scale and how they transfer versus the damage scaling. So this weapon, because it has a damage modifier and this weapon has an attack percentage modifier, once you receive a buff on top of that, from Bennett, using Bennett's talent for Fantastic Voyage, you then give yourself an attack buff, which will not scale as well with another attack percentage buff. If you wanted damage, you always get more damage out of an attack percentage buff plus a damage buff versus an attack percentage buff plus another attack percentage buff. The scaling kind of goes like this and falls off a little bit as far as how it feels, whereas damage scaling kind of goes like this with it. So you always see a little bit more with a damage proc from a damage bow. Unfortunate, but that's just it is. All right, so my Venti stats right now are 38%, 144 with 261 EM, and of course I have an Animal Goblet. I am of course running artifact sets on my Venti with not the best artifacts in the world, just normal crit chance, crit damage artifacts, some shit pieces, some decent pieces, whatever you may have, just normal shit people have. I'd say that if you're looking to level this weapon and you're looking to level it for Venti, it's really not that good for Venti in comparison to the Stringless. The other options that you, I would say that if you're looking to level a weapon, this weapon, if you're looking for a level weapon, is not worth the Mystic Enhancement Ore. You might say this is worth the worth it because it's free. It's not really free. What you actually have to spend for this weapon is a few 100,000 Mora. You also have to spend a bunch of Mystic Enhancement Crystals that you can use for other weapons. If you're not farming them daily, that is a farm that you have to do. And you're going to have to ascend the weapon just like every other weapon. So you're still going to have to farm a weapon domain in order to get the weapon ascension material. So it's not free. You do use your resources on it, and it is annoying. Now, if you are a free-to-play player and you're looking for a better weapon, I made a video a while ago about a better weapon for Venti, and weapon is as free, if not about the same free level for Venti. But if you're looking for a better weapon for Venti, Venti's best weapons that are for free-to-play players are both the Stringless and the Blackcliff Warbow. I made an entire video about this weapon. It is actually comparable R5 to R5 with the Stringless. So if you want to go check that out, video link in the description below to go check it out. This weapon is far better at this R1 weapon is better than the free weapon at R5. So I would definitely recommend to not level this weapon at all if you're using it for Venti. It is a huge waste of resources unless you're one of those players that's like, nah, fam, I don't buy Blackcliff weapons. I use all my Masterless Star Glitter for summons. I need more Primo Gems, more summons. I don't give a fuck, Seka. I need to go in on banners. I don't care about what's good. I just care about summoning. If that's you, then yeah, the Windblume Ode is a great weapon, especially if you're free to play. It's great. It's great for you if you are free to play. If you're that guy, then it's great. Okay? Copium. So let's test it on Amber. So the next test we're going to do is versus a Sharpshooter Oath. This weapon is the best in-slot weapon for Amber, and the next best weapon in slot is the Amos Bow. Prototype Crescent does okay, but it takes all the way to like R4 on a Prototype Crescent for you to even see some kind of difference in damage for Amber. For Ganyu, it's different, but for Amber, it's not. The reason is because Amber has less base attack and all that, and she scales different. There's less crit damage on it, and her attack ceiling is on attack percentage, so it's weird to go with a Prototype Crescent because Amber, when you level her up, gets scaling on attack percentage. So we're gonna go with this with a Sharpshooter Earth. My current artifact set is a Wanderer troop set with a 4-piece Wanderer. We're gonna be with the Pyro stuff. I am using attack all the way through, of course, with crit chance, crit damage, with trash artifacts because my Amber sucks. I over have a 22% crit chance and 188 crit damage with 315 EM. I end up getting a lot of EM. So we're going to go ahead and try this out with Amber and see if it's good. So we're going to try this out with Amber. First test on Sharpshooter Oath. Do that in the face first. Hit one of these. Use a Sucrose. Boom. Boom. We're going to go ahead and use one of these. Auto. I'm going to run away. Drop one of these. And headshot this dude. It's 60k. So that's the rotation. We hit 60k on Amber. I'm just going to kill this guy real quick. You can see that ulti is hitting for about 1900. Not that much on other pieces of the abilities. And let's go check the Baron Bunny with no reaction. Get him. 0 damage. Clearly a god. I'm gonna do this. Run away from this dude real quick. I'm gonna go bam, bam. Gonna go one of these, bam, auto. Run the fuck away. You. Hit this guy in the face one time. I fucking missed. We're gonna have to, he's gonna do a spin to win in a second. No? You gonna reset? Heck. I didn't know you could dodge that way. I didn't know you could dodge like this. Did you guys know you could dodge like that? I had no idea. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, we're gonna go with 3, 4, 5. 44,000. I didn't get the 10% attack bump from Amber from hitting the headshot initially, but 10% attack is not going to make up that difference. You can see it's already significantly less without that attack percentage buff. So let's go ahead and get the attack buff by pressing E. So we can get the attack percentage buff. We also missed the proc of the Windblume by pressing E. So this time around, I'm going to get the proc of the Windblume. On purpose, by the way. I missed. All right, so we're gonna do this. Okay, and we're gonna go with 1, 2, 3. See how problematic that is at times. I couldn't even get everything up. I couldn't keep the sucrose buff up and everything. 44,000, still the same damage. So even with all that, you got everything up, it's about the same damage. You really get almost no damage increase. This weapon is actually worse than a 3-star weapon. This weapon is worse than a 3-star for Amber. My God. Right now with the bow, we have 41 and I go down to 137 on the crit damage. Wow. Even if my crit damage ratios went up, you lose a lot from the weapon. So with the same artifacts, you lose a lot. The 3-star weapon you get from Shooter, I probably have way too much EM at this point, but to be honest, even if I got more crit chance and crit damage, the amount of artifacts I would need to make up for it to even see if the damage would be different, the 20k damage difference really shows you how much better the Sharpshooter Oath is than the Windblume Ode. It's kind of disgustingly bad. EM on the reaction damage is not strong enough. It's actually much worse than the crit damage from Sharpshooter Oath and the weak point damage that you get here. And the overall 36% attack is really, really, really freaking sus. So I'd say overall this weapon is dog shit for Amber. The last character in the game you can use it on is Fischl, and I don't have C6 Fischl on this account, so I can't test the C6 Fischl. I have C5 Fischl, and I'm not going to test it because I already know from the first 2 characters I tested this on, the only other weapon I would even consider using this on is this. So the whole reason I leveled this up is so I could use a half-ass weapon on my Fischl at some point, and that's the only reason I leveled it up. Because I didn't want to, I wanted to be able to refine my Stringless and have a shit weapon on the side for my Fischl so that she could have like mediocre damage. And that's the only reason I leveled up in the first place. So that was my master plan. For Venti, you'd be better off using a Favonius bow to give your team energy recharge if you want to. The weapon provides very little damage value. I think this overall is like the worst 4-star weapon for a pure damage weapon they've ever introduced in the game. And is honestly dog shit. And if we compare it to the weapon that we have, of course, last time from the Festering Desire, this weapon is significantly better in so many ways by providing an energy recharge stat, which is much more valuable to a support DPS because that allows you to get your ultimate up more quickly and get you the rotations you need. The elemental skill damage and elemental crit rate are also very, very helpful for increasing your damage. But you know what's funny is that this weapon is much worse than the other weapons in the game for other oil damage. The Festering Desire is not the highest damage weapon for Bennett, but that's not supposed to be. It has energy recharge as far as its main stat goes, so it's probably you'll be better suited off using an Iron Sting or the new weapon on Bennett if you want to use that. By the way, just as a side note, for this weapon, you'd be much better off just getting a Blackcliff Warbow for Fischl. It's gonna be better. I don't even need to test it. I already know it's gonna be better. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this weapon is dog shit. If you want to level it up and you feel like you don't want to spend your Master of the Stargun on a Blackcliff Warbow and you don't have a Stringless, it's the best option after that. However, because bows are this thing in the game that have so many applications, there's so many other bows in the game and there's so few bow characters. There's no bow character where this is going to be a best in slot weapon or even close to it. If we look at Childe as far as weapons go, Childe's better weapons are going to be Stringless, of course, if you wanted to go for a nuke build, the Skyward Harp, and the last weapon, of course, that would be great for him is going to be the Rust. Many people, of course, use those for Childe and then much better weapons for him in general. The new weapon is kind of way below the Rust as far as overall damage, from my opinion. But again, I don't have a Childe built out right now, and on the Childe banner I'll try to get a Childe, but I don't know. And I do have the weapon built out, so if on my Asia account I end up getting it at some point, I'll be able to test that. But at this point I don't have it, so I can't test it. For Diona, I'd say for Diona, this weapon is also bad. You'd be much better off with a sacrificial weapon or the Favonius weapons. Those weapons provide energy recharge and give you HP percentage. This weapon is horrible for her because it doesn't provide any of her needed stats. It doesn't boost your team in any meaningful way. For the other bow characters, Amber, it's bad. We already saw that. And for Fischl, I did it because I want to use my Stringless on my Venti. That's the only reason I leveled it up. So I can use my Stringless on my Venti and use this half-ass weapon on Fischl. So I have 2 weapons. That's it. The last bow character in the game that we've talked about is Ganyu. And as we saw from the Sharpshooter Oath test for Amber, the damage difference on crit damage is much higher for just looking at the Sharpshooter Oath versus Ganyu. So Ganyu would be much better off using a Blackcliff Warbrow or Prototype Crescent. I don't even need to do this test because I already know that just based off the small test that we did here, but how significant the damage difference is between crit chance, crit damage, and elemental mastery. So just know that if you're trying to boost your Ganyu, you're going to get a much more meaningful damage boost off a Blackcliff Warbrow or a Prototype Crescent if you're going to be using those weapons. All right, guys, my name's Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know you guys what you think about the new weapon in the comment section down below. I think it's absolutely dog shit and really good for some free-to-play players. Not good for most free-to-play players that are trying to get better weapons. It's trash. I'm not gonna lie to you. Have a great day, guys. Peace.